Canadian. I've always hated Justin Trudeau. I've hated the name.
A lot of people are struggling with their finances. A great deal of Canadians are without a job. Immigration out of control.
10 years is long enough.
A new prime minister and leader of the Liberal Party will carry its values and ideals into that next election.
Because I think that we need a leader. There is only one leader who's running for office right now who is going to be able to unite the country, I think.
I am running to be leader of the Liberal Party and the next Prime Minister of Canada.
As Canada braces for a significant political shift, the question on everyone's mind is, who will replace Prime Minister Justin Trudeau? After nearly a decade in power, Trudeau's leadership is poised for change, and the country is watching closely to see which figure will step up to lead the Liberal Party and the nation into the next chapter. The transition comes at a time of growing discontent with the current leadership, with Trudeau facing criticism on multiple fronts, from economic policies to international relations.
Just can't wait till it's all over, to be honest.
I'm so happy. For the last 9 years, I cannot recall he did anything good for the country.
Get rid of Trudeau, get rid of the Liberals, and we'll be good.
His tenure has been marked by significant achievements and considerable controversy, particularly surrounding his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change measures, and the ongoing trade and diplomatic tensions with the United States. As we move forward, I'd like to ask you a quick favor to subscribe and like this video. It takes just a second and helps us so much. The race to replace Trudeau is still in its early stages, but several prominent figures have emerged, each with their vision for Canada's future. From provincial premiers like Danielle Smith of Alberta to key figures within the Liberal Party such as Chrystia Freeland, the field is wide open. Premier Danielle Smith of Alberta has built her political identity around her unflinching defense of the province's oil and gas sector. Alberta's economy is deeply intertwined with the energy industry, and Smith has made it clear that she is committed to protecting this cornerstone of economic activity.
Thanks everyone for being here today. With the executive order signed yesterday by the administration, we were pleased to see that Canada got a day one reprieve from tariffs. But if you look at the report, there's a review going on that is due back on April the 1st. So we have a short window, I think, to be able to demonstrate the very positive relationship that Canada and U.S. have from a tariff-free point of view and why it should remain tariff-free. Projects to our east and west coast, whether it's Northern Gateway getting restarted in British Columbia or Energy East conversations getting started off the east coast. That's really the way that through those kinds of major infrastructure projects that we can start diversifying.
Her leadership has been one of bold actions and straightforward opinions, especially when it comes to defending Alberta's natural resources. Under her leadership, Alberta has pursued aggressive policies aimed at strengthening the oil and gas industries, positioning herself as a champion for the province's economic interests on the national stage.
This whole enterprise we've started on is a pathway to reduce emissions. We are transitioning away from emissions. We're not transitioning away from oil and natural gas.
A key issue that has shaped Smith's tenure is her stance on U.S. trade policies and the tariffs that have increasingly threatened Alberta's oil exports. The province's oil is a vital component of Canada's energy sector. Yet the U.S., a major trading partner, has at times imposed policies that undermine Alberta's position in the global energy market. Smith has been vocal about the economic implications of these trade barriers, asserting that the provincial economy cannot afford to be hampered by policies that work against its best interests. She has even suggested the possibility of retaliatory measures, including tariffs on U.S. goods, as a means of holding the U.S. accountable. Smith's combative approach contrasts sharply with that of other political leaders, especially those in Ottawa, who often opt for a more diplomatic and cautious stance when handling sensitive issues related to trade and foreign relations. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of Canada's Conservative Party, has been an outspoken critic of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, particularly in regard to his handling of international issues like tariffs.
The U.S. is responsible for $1.2 trillion of our trade. We trade almost twice as much with the Americans as we trade with the rest of the world. combined. Trade with the US is 40% of our economy. President Trump yesterday made an unjustified threat of a 25% tariff on our already weak and shrinking economy. Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland were surprised, amazingly. Everyone else knew something like this could be coming because President Trump had been talking about it for years on the campaign trail. Yet 20 days ago, Chrystia Freeland said, "Don't worry, Canada will be fine."
Poilievre has not shied away from pointing fingers at Trudeau's leadership, accusing him of mishandling Canada's economic and trade relationships. One of the key issues that Poilievre has focused on is the impact of tariffs, particularly those imposed by the United States, which he argues are detrimental to Canada's economy. By framing Trudeau as weak on the international stage, Poilievre has sought to position himself as a strong, decisive alternative, one who would better protect Canadian interests in the face of external pressures, particularly from major trading partners like the US. However, Poilievre's leadership style has not been without its challenges. One of the most significant difficulties he faces is adjusting to the constantly evolving political landscape. In an era of rapid change where public sentiment can shift quickly and the political environment is unpredictable, Poilievre's ability to pivot and respond effectively is being tested.
Prime Minister who's lost control of everything. He's lost control of the borders, lost control of immigration, and lost control of spending. Recently it came to light that the deficit is much bigger than his finance minister reported in the recent budget. Now, the Prime Minister claims that he can't tell us what the deficit is for this year. Okay, so we'll make it easier for him. What was the deficit last year?
His criticisms of Trudeau resonate with a portion of the electorate, particularly those who are disappointed by the current government's handling of national issues. Yet, as a political figure, Poilievre has often struggled with shifting his approach to meet new challenges or political realities. While he is known for his hard-hitting rhetoric and strong stances on various issues, it remains to be seen whether he can evolve as a leader and address the broader, nuanced issues that a prime ministerial role demands. Political vulnerabilities in Poilievre's approach also come from his occasional reluctance to engage deeply with the media. His avoidance of tough questions and careful control over public appearances can be seen as a strength in controlling his message, but it may also be seen as a weakness. Canadians expect their leaders to be transparent, particularly in moments of crisis or national uncertainty. Poilievre's reluctance to engage directly with the press and his tendency to avoid difficult questions could further erode trust if it continues. Doug Ford's leadership has become a defining feature of Ontario's political landscape, especially in the context of Canada's complex relationship with the United States. While Justin Trudeau's federal government has often found itself caught in the crossfire of US President Donald Trump's trade policies, Ford has carved out a distinct role as a pragmatic leader navigating the challenges that come with cross-border relations.
You know, folks, I'm on the phone every day. Right after I leave here, I'm going to get on the phone with a few more governors and making sure they understand how important the relationship between Ontario and the U.S., not to mention Canada and the U.S. If you think of this, we're the #1 export destination to 17 states, #2 to 11. And I talked to the great governor of Kentucky, and I remember in the last tariffs we threw on the bourbon, first thing out of his mouth is, "Don't touch my bourbon." And I said, "Governor, that's a serious business down there when you touch with their bourbon. It's like messing with their LCBO." So I said, "You know, Governor, you got to talk to your president, because the first thing we're doing, we're getting your bourbon." And I've sent a direction to the LCBO, these tariffs come, to clear off every bit of U.S. alcohol off the shelves. Let's start promoting more Ontario-made wines and the vodkas and spirits. That's what we need to do. We're the largest purchaser of alcohol in the entire world. They will feel the pain. I will make sure I communicate this to our other premiers that they should be following suit.
His approach to the ongoing tariffs particularly those imposed by the United States on Canadian products like steel and aluminum, has been marked by his readiness to engage directly with both U.S. officials and other provincial leaders. Ford's willingness to take the lead in addressing these economic challenges has been notable, especially as the federal government has sometimes seemed reactive rather than proactive in its approach. Through his leadership in the Council of the Federation, which brings together premiers from across Canada, Ford has worked to ensure that provincial voices are not drowned out in the discussions about trade and tariffs. His leadership in this forum has helped create a sense of unity among provincial leaders, enabling them to collectively address the challenges posed by U.S. policies. This collaborative approach has given him a sense of authority and influence in the national conversation, as he has been able to speak on behalf of not just Ontario, but a broader coalition of provinces concerned about the economic impact of U.S. actions. His ability to communicate effectively with both provincial and federal counterparts has allowed him to fill a leadership void that was left open as the Trudeau government struggled to present a unified response to the challenges posed by the United States. His focus on practical solutions to real-world problems, particularly in terms of trade and economic relations, positions him as a leader who is capable of taking charge when it matters most. Dominic LeBlanc's absence from the leadership race has only deepened the sense of unpredictability surrounding the future of the Liberal Party, as LeBlanc was widely regarded as a strong potential candidate who could unify the party and maintain the Trudeau legacy.
The one thing we've learned is that President Trump at moments can be unpredictable. He said that he would impose 25% tariffs on the Canadian economy and on the Mexican economy. We have spent the last number of weeks preparing potential response scenarios for the Government of Canada in partnership with provinces and Canadian business leaders and union leaders. So our country is absolutely ready to respond to any one of these scenarios. We still continue to believe that it would be a mistake for the American government to proceed with imposing tariffs. It would be a mistake in terms of the cost of living in the United States, in terms of jobs in the United States, the security of supply chains. It would clearly be a difficult moment for the economy of the country. But the good news is the premiers were in Ottawa last week. We agreed on a series of measures that we could enact if the United States government decides to do this.
With his departure, the contest now seems more open, and the party must grapple with the prospect of a leadership change that could fundamentally alter its direction. In the wake of LeBlanc's decision, the spotlight has shifted to other potential contenders. Chrystia Freeland, a member of the House of Commons, is among the most prominent names on the list of possible candidates.
I am running to be leader of the Liberal Party and the next Prime Minister of Canada. As a party, we need to recognize that today, Canadians want and need us to relentlessly focus on one thing: the economy. Canadians want good jobs, homes they can afford, and great care for their kids. They want a government that is as careful with Canada's money as Canadians are with their own.
Freeland's political experience, both domestically and internationally, gives her a unique position within the party. She has gained a significant following within the caucus, with some Liberals viewing her as the natural successor to Trudeau. In addition to Freeland, other figures have been mentioned as potential leadership candidates, including some more unexpected names from outside the political sphere. Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of Canada and current UN Special Envoy for Climate Action, is frequently discussed as a possible outsider candidate who could bring a fresh perspective to the party. Carney's background in finance and global economic affairs could appeal to a party seeking to reposition itself on economic issues.
The world is becoming a more dangerous and divided place, and at the same time, the global economy is being transformed. Every major economy is accelerating their energy transition, and being low carbon is becoming a key driver of competitiveness. We're just at the start of a revolution driven by AI in every sector, every economy, every company. We can no longer rely on the world's rules-based trading system. We have to become an essential trading partner.
His extensive international experience might also offer a unique advantage in navigating Canada's evolving relationships with global powers. However, Carney's political inexperience, combined with his outsider status, could present challenges in terms of gaining the trust and support of the party's base. Another potential candidate who has generated significant buzz is Christy Clark, the former Premier of British Columbia. Although Clark is a member of the Liberal Party's provincial counterpart in BC, her leadership experience and status as a former Premier make her a strong contender for the federal leadership position. Clark's time in office, particularly in handling complex issues related to the economy, trade, and provincial relations, has earned her a reputation as a strong and pragmatic leader.
Because I think that we need a leader. There is only one leader who's running for office right now who is going to be able to unite the country, I think, and who's going to bring a moderation and a willingness to talk to the people with whom he disagrees, and that's Jean Charest.
One of the key strategies Clark has employed in building support for her potential leadership bid is her focused fundraising efforts. Recently, she held a call with 135 supporters and fundraisers, signaling her intent to rally the financial and organizational backing necessary to mount a competitive campaign. Fundraising is crucial in any political contest, and Clark's ability to engage and mobilize supporters from across the country will be an important factor in her success. However, her political background outside of federal politics raises questions about whether she could successfully transition to the national stage. Despite these challenges, her supporters argue that her outsider status could work in her favor, offering a contrast to the entrenched political establishment and allowing her to tap into a broader electorate. The Liberal Party is currently facing a series of internal challenges, from divisions over policy to questions about its ability to remain competitive in the face of a resurging Conservative Party. Public polling has become a tool for gauging support, as candidates use these surveys to gauge their viability and adjust their strategies accordingly. For instance, Freeland supporters may use polling data to emphasize her appeal to centrist voters, while outsider candidates like Carney and Clark may focus on building support among those looking for a change from the status quo. Internal party dynamics also play a significant role in shaping the leadership race. The Liberal Party, like any major political organization, is composed of various factions, each with its priorities and interests. For some party members, a leadership change offers an opportunity to push for a shift in policy or direction, while others are more concerned with maintaining the stability and unity of the party. As we reflect on the future of Liberal leadership in Canada, it's clear that the path forward will be filled with both opportunities and obstacles. Whether the party chooses an established figure like Chrystia Freeland or a newcomer like Christy Clark, the question remains: who will have the vision, the leadership, and the ability to navigate the complexities of Canada's political landscape? What are your thoughts on the future of Liberal leadership in Canada? Let us know in the comments.